Good morning and welcome to Creative Marketing. I'm AJRoss, president of AJRoss Creative Media. For more than 27 years, we've helped businesses, both large and small, grow their market share and brand awareness. In the coming weeks, I'll have a variety of guests giving their insights, discussing recent trends, and sharing personal stories about their marketing experience. We're also here to hear your point of view and answer your marketing questions, so call us at 845-651-1110. Again, 845-651-1110, or text us at 845-397-7743. Again, text us at 845-397-7743. Well, today my guest is Carlos Vega.
Good morning.
Creative Director at AJRoss Creative Media. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, about 12 hours, right?
12 hours? Didn't we drive together here?
Yeah.
Anyway, welcome. I must tell you that I've been doing this a long time. I was in the music business 20 years before I started this business, and Carlos has been with me for over 20 years, and in all my experiences of working with talent in all those years, I've never come across someone who is so talented, so knowledgeable, and, well, that's why you're working with us, but he is part of the team. He's part of the being partner, and I'm just delighted to have you here. So what's going on?
Not much. Just came in to talk a little bit about marketing.
So we were talking the other day or yesterday about what people perceive when they first come and learn about a potential vendor or business. And, you know, we've talked a lot about throughout the years how I've always wanted us to be very, very customer service prone, taking care of our customer, doing the best work we can do for them. And it's all about the client, not about us. So, you know, why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and, you know, that reminds me very early on about when you used to talk about being down in the city and how you'd work with the top people when you were doing your jingle company for a long time. And you brought that mentality over here to the agency and the kind of staff that we hire and the people that we train. And that's really where I think a lot of it starts. You know, you always talk about marketing and all of this other stuff, but everything that we do could come down to meaning nothing if the customer service and how you treat your clients doesn't match the marketing and all that kind of stuff that we put together. I
agree. And, you know, that's something that I'm very proud. You're very proud. I'm also very proud about something. We had a pitch the other day with could be a very, very good client for us in the future. And it used to be me sitting out front making all the noise. And I was so impressed with you and Matt Ross. You guys sat there and you were so knowledgeable about this potential client, knowing their business, knowing their products. And I think he was very too. And I'm very proud of that, you know, because I'm stepping back a little bit. You guys are going to be the face of the company. I'll be here, but it's so wonderful to know that you're here and you have my back and our back.
But that's exactly where what we're talking about starts, is that reputation of a company and how you start that first interaction with a client, taking time to research them, understand them. And the great thing that we've done over the years that really goes into the marketing aspect is getting to know the client, really understanding what it is and letting them do a lot of the talking so we can understand what their pain points are. That is really probably the best way we've been able to help market everybody, is understanding the client first, not just coming in and telling them all about everything that we know, because that way we're able to kind of bounce back and really, really get down to what they need and where they're successful and where they're kind of hurting.
And something we also try to project with our clients, and I'd like you to talk a little bit more about, is how their potential clients perceive them or how they feel about them when they first come on board or trying to search for them. Can you?
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, is the way you engage a client after you've already reached them outside has to have the same tone in all of your marketing. So when you're talking about, your website, your social media, your print, your collateral, your radio, your television, all of that stuff, it has to reflect how you sit down and talk to somebody one-on-one. It has to have that same kind of tone and feel. Because why would you write something on your website or put something in social media that isn't something you would say to somebody when they're face-to-face with you?
I agree. And, something that frustrates me a little bit, but we make sure that we don't do that. And it seems to be the norm these days is what we tell our clients about how their client's going to perceive them, or whatever word you want to use, is somebody answering the phone when they call to speak to somebody. Once they answer that phone, do the people know what they're talking about? Are they pleasant? They're the gatekeepers. Is the client socially, doing social media? But more importantly, is there a one-on-one relationship with the client, which I see today, how many companies do you call and you get a voicemail and you have a prompt? And it's just something I just have, I guess I'm getting older.
It's not about getting older. You're right on with it, because perception is reality with things, especially today when everybody makes snap judgments so quickly, with everything being so instant online and everything like this. That first impression is even faster than ever before. So you get the wrong person answering the phone, you get the wrong message online, you have an unuser-friendly website, you have the wrong message in social media, whatever it may be, you give off the wrong perception. And unfortunately, you could be the greatest company in the world, and if you have a poor website, where most people, over 80% of them, are going on a website to get their first impression of you now, they could get their reality of your company is now, okay, wait a minute, this is some mom and pop shop. And they could be a Fortune 500 company that has the greatest customer service in the world, and the opposite can also happen. You could be this little dinky company that treats their clients horribly, have this fantastic, slick-looking website, and give off the perception that, you're going to be the greatest thing in the world. And you could miss a lot of clients just with one little misstep, whether it's the phone, it's your marketing materials, it's just how you address somebody one day.
Yeah. Talking about websites, next week I'm going to have AJRoss on here to discuss the new WordPress and his whatever it is. But
that's a whole ordeal going on now.
He doesn't know about that, but he'll be here next week. And talking about websites, we've spoken to going on, proposals with a couple clients, and what we tell the client is, we don't care if you like what the website looks like. We care about what your potential clients want.
Yeah, it has to be built for your users.
Yeah.
What are they looking for? What do they expect? Now, of course, to that point as well, there's always the side of you want to make the client happy, but the content and how it delivers has to work for that user.
Yeah. Well, we've come across a couple,
You do the best you can do.
Yeah. Again, and anyone who would like to ask questions of me or Carlos Vega, please call us at 845-651-1110 or text us at 845-397-7743.
And we did get a lot of email questions, actually.
Do you have some?
Yeah, I pulled some of those through.
Okay.
So we had a really nice influx of those. A lot of people asking similar things.
Oh, by the way, I also want to announce to our radio listeners that you will also be co-hosting this show quite a bit. Down the line, it'll be you.
I guess I'm just finding that out now too.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah, that's why you get paid the big bucks. No.
Sure.
So why don't you take some of those emails?
Yeah, before we even get into this, one other thing that I think was really nice that you started to touch on with reputation and all that out there, and one of the biggest missteps I think I've seen over the years, over and over again, is it's surprising how many companies, and I'm talking not just small, but very large corporations, only have their logo in a JPEG format. And that limits them in so many ways. For example, if they want to do large signage, do they understand what their color scheme is so they can stay consistent across the board?
Okay. I think we have a call. Who's on the line?
Alan, this is Ron. I was director of customer service for a major pharmaceutical CPG customer-oriented company and recently retired. One of the goals that we've had in my 40 years in the business, primarily the last 20 in customer service, is CARE. Customers are really everything. But one of the reasons I decided to retire, other than being old, is the fact that I'm not seeing that the way I used to. Your thoughts on that subject?
Carlos? Well, that's what we're talking about, Ron. Thanks for calling in. It's a little different out here these days. I mean, in the old days, I guess we're kind of close in age, it sounds like. It was all one-on-one. I mean, you know that if you couldn't close business unless you took people out to lunch, went to their companies, pitched your product. But one other thing I'd like to ask you is, if you went and pitched your product and the product wasn't very good, what would happen?
It wouldn't sell.
And why is that?
Because you don't have the product that the consumer is looking for.
And we're talking about perception. What is your thought about how, when you went out there, you wanted your clients to perceive you and the company you were working for?
I wanted them to perceive me as someone that was honest, had integrity, and would do what I promised I would do. And one of the things I've seen over the past few years, and again, I've been in the industry for many, many years, is calling back to customer, making sure if they're looking for their order, that it's on its way. If not, where is it? And be proactive at the same time and not having to wait for them to ask us. And I'm not seeing that happening today yet. Customer service, in my opinion, is probably the most important part of what we do in sales and marketing.
Carlos?
Yeah, and Ron, you're absolutely right. A lot of times nowadays, everybody's trying to do automated systems to take out that manpower or that personal touch, and I think there's really a big misstep with that, because a lot of that really is what drives sales. At least for me, I know whenever I'm dealing with a company or products, I want to be able to have somebody on the phone. I want to be able to have that personal connection as well as the online. And everybody's relying on social media and all that today too much to make that personal connection one-on-one with their consumers.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Thank you for the call, Ron. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking with me.
You bet. Okay, so we're going to be coming up to a break. This is good. This is Good Morning. This is Creative Marketing. I'm AJRoss with Carlos Vega, and we'll be right back after this break.
AJRoss Creative Media is the premier marketing, advertising agency, web design, and social media company in the Hudson Valley. AJRoss connects their clients with prospective customers by generating powerful marketing and advertising concepts. Meet with the AJRoss team and you'll walk away with a new and innovative approach that'll bring your company to the next level. Contact the AJRoss team and set up a free consultation and get started with the best. Visit AJRoss.com.
You're just trying to be better. We're just trying to help. The John Tesh Radio Show.
Monday through Saturday starting at 3 p.m.
Tesh.com.
After a long day, we're here to keep you company with great soft rock and interesting information you can use on WTBQ. Radio worth listening to.
This is Zach Kruk, Sports Director for WTBQ. Tune in every weekday morning to the Frank Truatt Morning Show to get the latest news, scores, and info about your favorite teams and players. That's every Monday through Friday on the Frank Truatt Morning Show, right here on WTBQ.
Welcome back. This is AJRoss with Creative Marketing. I'm AJRoss from AJRoss Creative Media, and I have Carlos Vega, who is the creative director of AJRoss Creative Media. This is kind of incestuous today, huh, Carlos? So you have some questions that have been emailed or texted to you?
Yeah, we got quite a few questions actually, and one of the ones I thought was most interesting was, it's a little bit of an open-ended question, but I think it talks to a lot of what we're talking about today, and that's, somebody asked, when it comes to my website, is it better to have a lot or as little as possible? And they're talking about the text in their website. And I think that really goes into what we're talking about, because it's more about quality over quantity, having the right tone, using the same kind of tone that you would when you're sitting right across from somebody. And that's, surprisingly, as we've both seen over and over again, People send us in the copy for the website, or we're reviewing it for the first time before we help them to, revamp it. And a lot of time, the content that's in the website is nothing like the people or the company that you meet ahead of time. It doesn't speak the same way. It doesn't have the same tone. So my answer to, this question would simply be, it's not about having a certain amount of copy outside of the SEO benefits of it, of course, but that's a whole other topic. It's about the quality and having a tone that matches the way you would, speak to a customer.
Well, thank you, Carlos. We have another call. Hello.
Yes, hello. This is Barbara George.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I know you.
Yes, you do. And I have the pleasure of knowing you all for the great work that you did with our organization, our charitable organization. And I heard the question with regard to how much volume, text, et cetera, should you have on a website. I was going to ask you, what do you think with regard to the most powerful tool that might be available, is the best way when you're introducing yourself, when someone, a stranger, opens up your website and what they're greeted with, do you think like a quick snippet video is maybe the best tool, or is there another? What would you do? What do you think is best?
Well, that again, it's a bit of an open-ended question. It really depends on what kind of company you are. I mean, video is a very, very powerful medium. There's no doubt about that. But you also want to hit somebody right away on your homepage of your website with who you are. Just some kind of little descriptor along with a video or something else that may be there. Because if they don't understand who you are and what you can do for them, then the rest of it's kind of irrelevant.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking is like, what's the quickest way to tell the story? Is it through a video or just doing a logo tagline kind of thing?
I think it's a multitude. It's all of them.
Yeah.
YouTube is becoming very, very a big thing for SEO and search engine optimization. And in fact, we've set up in our office, a mini video production that, in fact, Carlos did his yesterday, and I do mine. And any way you can get blogs or stories or case studies and video, it really helps. Help you get out to the world. We talk a lot about websites, but what we tell, it's something we do. It's a very important product that we do. But when we get a new client, we sit them down and want to look and refresh their brand identity. You, Carlos?
Yeah, and Barbara, to answer your question even more, there's never one answer for any kind of marketing solution. And when it comes to your website, having the right tagline, if it's appropriate with your brand, if you have a strong video that clearly and succinctly describes who you are and what you can offer your audience, that's fantastic to open with. But there should also be a little bit more within the homepage that also follows that up. A little bit of text. If, say, for example, somebody has slow load times on their website, or for whatever reason, they just don't want to watch it, you want to have that same brief, direct, quality message in a couple of locations, in a couple of ways. Because most companies have a lot of benefits to them, and sometimes it's saying a similar thing just from a different point of view of what your company can offer.
Very good advice, and I like the idea. I didn't even think about it. The slow load time. What does somebody do while they're waiting there for that to load up? Good point. Very good point. And again, I want to say to you, thank you for the amazing video that you did for our charitable organization, telling the story of the Keys of Goshen and the gift of the piano to the New York Waterway Ferry. So people love that. I mean, they really are engaged in that story. It's so well told, and you guys did a beautiful job with it. So kudos to you, and thank you for what you're doing. Everybody needs help in getting their message out, and you guys do a beautiful job.
Thank you, Barbara. It helped that we worked for you, that you knew what you wanted, and you were very, very.
Yeah, it was a fun project.
It was a fun project. So tell all your friends to listen to the radio show. We really want to make it a popular show every Wednesday at 10:30.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
okay,
Barbara.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Barbara.
she was wonderful to work for.
Yeah, she's been a great one to work for.
Yeah,
and that was a great
yeah. And
piece
she's
that was
very
put
involved
together.
in the Goshen area. I mean, you know, she's
Yeah, the Keys of Goshen is a great concept.
yeah.
And it was really nice to be able to follow that whole story from the beginning through the end.
Right. So, you have another question?
Yeah, there's a few of them that came through here. One of the, I think, biggest questions we always get asked is about social media. And one of the things that seems to overwhelm everybody is, what kind of social media should I have for my business? You know, that is another question that kept coming through over and over again. And the answer is, there's no direct answer for that. It really depends on your type of business. Are you a business to business, business to consumer? What are your goals? But the broadest answer is, you don't need every single social media that's out there. A couple of the basics to have for backlinks is always great to have, just because what a backlink does is it helps you with search engines. By having your name and links to your website on social media, it helps your rankings with Google and other major search engines like that, so people can find your company or your kind of services.
Well, I also want to tell you that in the future, we're going to be having a lot of different types of marketing directors, owners of business. I know Maureen Hallahan will be a guest in the near future from Orange County Partnership, and
Other people from advertising agencies.
Kristen Jensen, who's the marketing director of Catholic Charities, will be on. You know, it's just trying to get them in their, you know, to come
Busy
on.
schedules.
Busy schedules. Yeah, they're giving me a hard time, but they'll be on. And you know, this is something I've been looking forward to doing. And again, Carlos, it's wonderful having you and always working with you every day, and you taking charge and Matt taking charge, and not putting me in a home yet. So
I feel like I'm going to owe you like a check after this with all the praise I'm getting today.
Yeah, right. So, any other questions we want to talk about?
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of questions, but again, let's talk about branding real quick.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're talking about website, but we tell our clients we do websites, we do SEO, but that's just part of the package that we work with our clients. I mean, initially when a client comes walking in, even if they only want a website, but we talk about their brand, what their value is, what their brand looks like. Why don't you talk for the next few minutes, seconds about something?
Yeah, and I think brand is a very confusing term for a lot of people. A lot of people associate that only with a logo, but that goes into everything that we're talking about. It goes into the tone in all your marketing materials, the consistency with everything. You know, what kind of materials are you putting out there? And of course, that logo, which kind of goes back to what we started talking about before the first call. Having that in the right formats is so crucial to every business, and it's so highly overlooked, because having in the right formats allows you to put that logo on everything, create color consistency because you know what your colors are, knowing what your fonts are, so that if you're using somebody outside of your marketing agency, say you're having merchandise made, or you know, you're doing some kind of quick signage or trucks or something, and for whatever reason you're not using that agency, or you parted way with that agency, you want to be able to keep that consistency. And that's the one thing that I see happen over and over again. And again, like I said, with small companies and large companies, their color consistency, font consistency, just even having a logo they could blow up to the size of a poster.
Well, that's
they don't
the
have
first
the ability
thing.
for
That's the
anymore.
first thing they see a new potential client. I mean,
it sets the tone for all your brand.
Well, it's who you are. Again, if you'd like to call in, we have a couple more minutes. It's 845-651-1110, 845-651-1110. So
the other thing, you know, with another question that we have popping in, and I saw this a lot too, and we've been getting into this more and more nowadays, is blogging. And a lot of people overlook that, just thinking, oh, I don't have the time for it. Why do I want to bother? But when we were talking before about reputation, about perception and all of that, blogs are really important because it establishes you as an expert without you bragging about yourself. You know, you're putting advice out there, almost like this radio show. A lot of the stuff that we're talking about has nothing to do with the agency as a whole, but it's just about daily advice that people could use, or the stuff that we're seeing happening in the market right now, or whatever else it may be. But by blogging, it's going to help in so many ways. It helps with establishing your tone in your company and what you can do. It helps with search engine optimization, which is a huge thing, and I'm sure Matt will get into that when you guys talk about websites. But it also establishes your company as knowledgeable in what you do.
Oh, we have a couple minutes left. You know what? Real quick. We're getting back to doing traditional work too.
Yes.
We're going after manufacturers now who want catalogs and brochures. You know, I miss that. You know, it was, you know, you did a beautiful ad. Well, the New York Times, you still have that, but that's kind of a dying art.
It's really not, though. The world is kind of shifting back to print, where old is becoming new again. Because what happened was the market was so flooded before with everything, with print ads and, you know, brochures and all this other stuff. Then digital came along and everybody jumped ship and started going towards the digital market and kind of relying on that. And it opened up the floodgates for traditional to stand out again.
Well, we're going after it because, you know, we could do a brochure in 3 days and a website in 6 weeks. So, you know, it's something that I came up with doing. And
it's really an open avenue for a lot of people to have a strong, effective marketing now.
Anyway, I'm AJRoss from AJRoss Creative Media. If you'd like any help with your marketing or advertising or have any questions, give us a call at 845-783-5770. And you could speak to Carlos, or you could speak to myself or Matthew Ross. And, you know, the phone call doesn't cost anything. Initial meeting doesn't cost anything. And, you know, we'd love to talk with you. So how much time do we have? 1 minute? Okay, we have 1 minute left. So why don't you close out the meeting and the show, and we'll go back and, you know, you'll make me money.
Sounds good. Yeah,
make us money. Sorry.
Yeah, make us money. Yeah. Well, like Alan said, I think the important thing is to open up a dialogue. Sit down with somebody. You know, feel free to call us, talk to us about any of your problems or things that are going on. The best results you're going to get by talking to an agency are really just opening up with what your problems are and what you're confused about. And we can really help a lot from there.
So this is AJRoss with Carlos Vega from AJRoss Creative Media. We thank you for listening to us, and tell your friends and tell everyone to tune in to us at 10:30 every Wednesday about creative marketing. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Your community radio station since 1960.